During 2009, I decided that the next year I would take my boat around Britain. My Dufour 34 had deep third reef in the main and both an overlapping genoa and a number 3. We knew from past experience that with 3 rolls in the number 3 and the deep third reef, she would take us to windward in 40 knots. But in case of anything worse, I also had a storm jib on a removable forestay. The main anchor was a 16 kg Manson Supreme on 60 metres of 10mm chain, with a 16 kg Delta on 60 metres of cable as a kedge. Instrumentation was all Ray Marine, with a C80 plotter mounted at the chart table, connected to an AIS receiver, an autohelm and the usual cockpit instruments. There was also a masthead mounted CME radar transponder. I had already fitted a raw water filter, which most manufacturers seem to have stopped doing for small sail drive units on Volvo's advice, despite the filters routinely collecting all sorts of rubbish. I had also installed a Webasto diesel heater, but we took an electric fan heater for instant heat in marinas, and a small oil-filled electric radiator to leave on overnight. She has 3 75 ampere batteries, 1 for the engine and 2 domestic. I thought the capacity might be a bit low for extended cruising, so I fitted an LED masthead tricolour, and I replaced the halogen saloon lights with LEDs. I also fitted a NASA battery monitor. Connecting it up was not quite as simple as the instructions implied. However, it was well worth the effort. Other minor changes to the standard fit included a small sprit for the cruising chute, in addition to the standard pole, and I made a split set of washboards which were much easier to stow in the standard single piece of heavy perspex. I managed to borrow IMRE charts for the whole of the trip from someone who had done it 4 years previously. The winter was spent correcting them. The only other significant addition I made was to fit a radar. I decided to mount it on a pole, and after reading Graham Snook's article in Yachting Monthly on self-levelling brackets, ordered one of those as well. I fitted the pole in the yard before launching, but the self-leveller did not arrive in time, so I had to bolt the radar to standard fixed fitting and leave wiring until after I launched. We planned to launch in early April and bring the boat round to Wolverstone on the Orwell to finish the preparations. When launching in the Deben, it's always wise to find out what winter storms have done to the barn. It's also a good idea to remind oneself where the channel lies, as there's not a lot of room for error in the upper reaches. It looks like the defence cuts are hitting even harder than I thought. Draft of 1.9 metres, launching at Larman's Yard is only possible on a biggish spring tide, and it's always a bit tense seeing if she will actually float. I told you a friend of mine ended up in that field. He was there for about a fortnight. But that means it's over 2 metres there, doesn't it?
2.5.
Working on the premise that there's water there, there's water in Loder's Cut. The marina was built in the pond where water was stored to operate the mill. A small pond still remains which will drive the milling machinery for a short time to demonstrate the mechanism to visitors. Loder's Cut was dug out to enable barge traffic to avoid troublesome reach. I don't think it gets any shallower. It is just marked by withers. He's gone right over on that edge of the channel. Yeah, he kept going straight on, he thought that was the way out. Get on with it, wouldn't they? Well, I'm bugging if I'm going over there. We draw a lot more than he does. After Loder's Cut, the channel is well marked by small buoys. The first big buoy guards the Horse Sand above Felixstowe Ferry. After the Horse Sand, the tide really starts to flow strongly, and one should stay well to the left of the river to leave the red buoy off Felixstowe Ferry Sailing Club to starboard. But today the ferry was in the way. After the red buoy, move across to the right side of the river to avoid being sucked into the swashways. The positions of the green and red buoys on the bar can vary significantly every season. At this time of year, the circle has often not been completed. The buoys can be in the wrong place. The previous day, the harbour master advised us to leave the red buoy to port on the way out. On the way down the river, we found it had been moved that morning, and that we should now leave it to starboard. We'll see. Are we still on the track between the two, or have we drifted across at all? Clear. Once clear of the bar, it was an easy run down to Harwich. We even managed to cross the shipping lane before rush hour started. The self-levelling bracket never did arrive, so I had to lower the pole and wire the radar to the standard fixed mount whilst afloat. My intention was to remove it for racing, so following Scanstrut's advice, I cut the cable. Big mistake. Reconnecting it was a nightmare, and I have not had the nerve to disconnect it since. I replaced one of the two camping gas bottles with a Keller gas bottle and a separate regulator, as these are reputed to be easier to change in Scotland. All that was left to do was to load the stores on board, and we were ready to go.